I'd like to welcome you and congratulate you on your new job with us. As you look around, I'm sure you can get an idea of how many different types of jobs we have here. But suppose for a minute you've been hired for a different job. Let's say that your job is to be the new safety director. Take a moment. Think about how you would try to keep someone from getting hurt or getting sick on the job. How would you handle it? Put up some posters? Make people watch a videotape? Could you ever force people to work safely if they didn't want to? And if they didn't work safely, how could you convince them to do it? Well, after thinking about it for a while, you'd probably focus on one word: responsibility. Being responsible for employee safety, though, takes two: the person on the job and the organization they work for. In our organization, safety is a priority. We make it a priority by establishing it as a written policy and then practicing it every day. Basically, that policy states that providing a safe workplace for you is a condition of your job. Now, the size and types of organizations vary, and some of the policies shown here may not apply to you. Be sure to discuss your organization's specific health and safety policies with your supervisor or department manager. The management here is committed to a safe and healthful workplace, and they back it up by complying with safety laws, providing safety training and guidelines, and encouraging employees to report unsafe conditions. Management will also provide funding to correct unsafe conditions. And by considering each employee's safety record when evaluating job performance. If an employee violates our safety and health policies and rules, it could put others in danger. So, management disciplines employees who violate safety rules. Supervisors also have an important role to play in keeping the workplace safe. Supervisors must make sure that employees receive appropriate safety training. A safety inspection program is in place to be sure the training is working. And if there should be an accident, to report, record, and investigate it to make sure it doesn't happen again. Finally, employees are also responsible for creating a safe workplace. It is each employee's responsibility to follow all safety rules, know the hazards of the job, report unsafe work conditions, and report all accidents. Safety awareness is the key. Now, we've all seen and heard about safety rules and safety regulations. They can get pretty specific for a job. We'll go over some of those later. But for right now, let's review some of the safety rules that apply to everybody. First off, let's review our policy on smoking. It's pretty simple. If you gotta smoke, smoke in designated areas or outside the buildings, not in our offices or vehicles. There are other policies that deal with things that aren't so simple, like our policy on substance abuse. These are the guidelines we follow if somebody on the job is drinking, using drugs, or taking medications on the job. First, if you're taking some kind of substance that impairs you, something that weakens you physically or mentally clouds your judgment, you are not permitted to remain at work or report for work. Period. We also have other specific policies on substance abuse you'll need to understand, such as the basics of our drug-free workplace policy, the dangers of drug use in the workplace, that this organization does enforce its drug-free workplace policy, what our drug testing policies and procedures are, the disciplinary actions and penalties involved for violating our policies. In our organization, a violation of the drug-free workplace policy could cost you your job. Our policy on workplace violence also applies to everyone.
I'm sick and tired of this work being incorrect. This is not the kind of quality work I expect out of this office.
Unfortunately, the numbers on violent crimes at work are going up. So, to help provide a safe and healthful work environment, our organization has developed a zero-tolerance policy for people that act violently on the job.
What in the hell are you doing here? Didn't we just talk about this report?
The bottom line here is that violence, or even just the threat of violence, by or against any employee, is unacceptable behavior and will not be tolerated. But what exactly is violent behavior? It can start as simple horseplay. Even though we think of horseplay as harmless, it always starts out that way. The problem is that it often becomes violent and dangerous, and somebody ends up getting badly hurt. Because of this, horseplay may be considered violent behavior and is not permitted in the workplace. Threats, intimidation, and harassment are also considered to be violent behavior. Unauthorized possession, use, or just the threat of using a weapon is considered violent behavior and is prohibited. If you experience or observe a violent incident, you're required to report it. Every violation will have a consequence. It may even result in loss of employment and criminal prosecution. Falsely reporting an incident, engaging in retaliation against a person who has reported an incident is also subject to disciplinary action, including termination. You'll be learning more about this subject as you continue your employment.